When are you seeing your optometrist?
I see them yearly, but I think I'm depreciating, accelerating.
Yeah.
That's a money term and an acceleration term. I don't think I used the right.
Mic check 1 2.
My hair doesn't work.
Do you guys need any like handheld mics or anything like that? Microphones and stuff.
With that box.
Could we get the two standing wireless desk mics?
Yeah, totally. Let me get this for you.
And maybe one handheld mic. If that's okay. Cool. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go to the office and use the rest.
Okay. We're on camera, people.
I asked him, I was like, what? I was thinking of grass and decided he's like, actually, unless you're not gonna go. I'm like, not that deep. Oh my gosh.
Charlie's flying? Yeah. Charlie's like I didn't know if you knew I was. Okay.
I'm okay right now.
What? Charlie's so hard. Monday, the 7 a.m. and 2 minutes I've never taken it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm awake now.
Let there be a way out.
I'm going to print.
Fuck. Long way around.
Well, I can only use the job control stuff. I can't think of her name. Yeah. I don't know. That seems like a good. That gets added to your guys' French group chat.
No. You just wanna.
My life.
You just want the shit I'm posting on that, don't you? You just want my Quizlet. You've heard about the Quizlet.
I heard about the Quizlet. Everyone's talking about that.
Everyone's talking about my Quizlet, as they do.
Thank you.
I'm always being used by the people around me. I'm down.
Travis.
Oh my God, no.
But it's good now.
How are you?
I go
Hello? Hello? This one is
Get like an hour and a half.
Mic check 1 2.
Shay was looking for it. I guess she said yes. Wait, you said you were over there?
See, that's what I said. Chris, that's what I said.
All of it.
Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 3. Test test test.
Yep.
Mic comes on.
Which explains to people all the time. Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry, I just turned it off.
Thank you very much. I think that's everything. Thank you. Yep.
Okay, can I have a grape? I know, I'm out in the water.
That's not that bad. Compared to how it is usually.
Not new.
Oh.
Yeah, we waited 30 minutes. The third one, we were given the wrong person.
Molly, move out of the way. What are you doing? I care.
Shay, do we have the live stream up?
There is that is so. It's not fixed on myself. I noticed that too. Actually, I had
Hello, how are you, Chris? Hi, Red Day. Or
What?
whatever, how was?
Higher ed day?
Yeah.
A lot.
Fair.
I would love to know where Ballard is.
oddly not sure. The additional like we're just like uncharacteristically.
She was like, you're fine, you don't need to talk to them, I just leave you. I mean, just how well you're actually. No, I think that I'm like.
It started out.
And
like the second day, that he like called me and I had like the first. Like have you can't.
Good.
I know. She always does. She's normally pretty good at doing it.
The EU.
It's going fantastic, actually.
That doesn't sound convincing at all.
No, like actually, great.
Okay, that's good.
Like genuinely,
That's good.
it's so good. Let's just make as much news as possible.
That's good. Maybe I
Okay, so
can turn
who-
on this microphone.
Yeah, we need both of them.
Mhm.
That's what we loud. Oh, I need to get the attention. What am I doing, Megan? What am I doing?
I expect more
I
from you.
know. Oh, is it new prison?
Did you have fun at higher ed day?
I did actually. I did. It was tea. There's always hella tea at higher ed day.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you want to offer anything else?
Let me think of what like the most.
Name was.
Hey everyone. While we're getting ready for the meeting to start, we have the university architect and some consultants from the firm Perkins & Will out in the hallway to discuss student success and student use of campus. So if you'd like to go out there and talk to them, it can help them collect some valuable data for improving KU.
I saw you come across the room. Are you a replacement center?
Yes. But I could have done this.
I did that literally like a month ago. They'll just stand up and introduce yourself. It's
I never mess up I had it with one of these dogs for over a year. I'm surprised now.
everyone first.
And like, and I'm gonna go home probably like 7 Let's give a quick shout out to caffeine. Oh, hey, you're part of the national security. What do we think of No, it's not that.
I'm all for it. I'll run it.
Yeah, I got it.
Robert, no, you're gonna be my representative.
Represented by the wrong number, so I guess I should say you can cross it out. Did anyone here know that the Kansas State representatives have business cards that look like the state of Kansas?
Yeah, I knew that. As of today.
I was hoping someone would enjoy that knowledge.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I have that.
I tell everybody just got this. I'm just for every. I'm so easy.
I had to get down, I'm not laying down in my sleep. I had to get on.
Well, why about the music? I had to be mean.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we meet at 3 and last.
What would this sentence remind you? Every time someone does like
Our
Every time someone makes a
call, like,
Or
people like come talk to us too about like
No.
our issues.
Every time
Okay,
first
I don't know
person
if
started
that's the
laughing.
But yeah.
I'm trying to get people engaged. What's the word for when you do something too
How much benefit are you gonna provide for this? Not much, but the idea.
It starts with preemptive. Every time someone does a preemptive motion to vote.
The majority of the house is like, this is stupid. I would just call cable.
Okay.
Really? You said that? I was like, you make it way easier. I know.
Thank you.
It's not a resolution, that'd be a way. He was like, it doesn't listen to us. If we, I think we consider it part of the have legislation. Then we can just follow it. Wherever we get that. Yeah.
My grandma wants to do it. Oh, that's so cute.
Robert, I'm planning to start this in like about- Oh. Let me check what else I said.
She's like,
Later? Yes, we can do it after officer reports. Also. We have a.
I would see it, but I had second round plans.
Hey, man, you want to donate that chair or something? What? Oh, yeah, sorry.
Get the doors. I know. Thank you. I tried to. They said red, blue, Jayhawk.
little yellow object.
Yeah. We need.
Good evening, everyone. The Students' Assembly will be in order for Cycle 10. This is our fourth to last cycle. We have 13 total. Just keep that in mind. By the way, our next legislative cycle will be bisected by spring break. So we'll have council meetings next week. Then the assembly meeting will be in the last week of March, I believe. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from our last meeting, which was on February 19th. These are posted in Teams. Are there any additions or corrections to be made to the minutes? Hearing none, is there any objections to the approval of the minutes? Hearing none, they are approved. We do not currently have our guest speaker here. I believe she will be here later. We also, I believe, do not have the student body president, student body vice president, or graduate student body president. So without objection, we will hold those items on our agenda pending until those people arrive. Hearing none, it is so ordered. All right, we'll move on to officer reports for the treasurer. How long? Fair.
Good evening. Thank you for joining today for this assembly. Only have 1 point of information. Wednesday night fund currently at an amount of $17,928 left for allocation for this semester. Are there any questions?
Any questions for the treasurer?
It's about 4,500, but it does not mean we have to do that for each cycle.
Any further questions for the treasurer? All right, thank you very much.
Thanks. Oh, Robert.
Oh,
If we spent everything from tonight, if we allocate everything in full, what would that leave us at? About.
Like 1,300 around there. That's very rough. I can get you a number after I
No,
get
that's
back
good.
to the sheet.
Thank you.
all right, sweet. Thank you very
Cool,
much. Any
thank
further
you.
questions? All right,
Thank you.
the fund development director. Time.
Hello again, everybody. I will keep it very short. I don't really have too much going on. The Education Opportunity Fund, I informed the Finance Council of this last week. The EOF is currently indefinitely on hold until fee deliberations. That proposal is approved, so we can continue with that once that has gone through this assembly. And then second, the Safety Fund Advisory Board and the Sustainability Fund Advisory Boards are both fully operational now. So if you have any ideas regarding safety or sustainability initiatives on campus, please reach out to me. I've finalized forms that I'm hoping, like language and forms for a more structured process that we can put on RockShox Central to have this process more accessible to all students on campus. So I've been working on that, almost finished, and that will be up on RockShox Central hopefully here in the next few days or so. Any questions?
Any questions for the fund development director? All right, hearing none. Thank you very much. The next officer report is me. Robert, or sorry, Megan. Thank you. 3. All right, good evening, everyone. I don't have too much to say and I didn't prepare anything. StudEx yesterday chose to expel one student senator and dismiss our other remaining disciplinary proceeding. The expulsion was for attendance policy violations. It's been a long day. The Constitutional Review Committee process is going well. If you have more questions about that, please ask them to our Chair of Student Rights and Affairs, Emma Atherton. You can also check out more of our documents and agendas on the Student Senate Teams channel for the Constitutional Review Committee. This committee is meeting every Thursday, except for spring break, from now until, I believe, the last legislative cycle of the academic year. If you have any ideas for legislation, so that is amendments to the Student Senate policies or resolutions to other bodies at KU, please reach out to me. Part of my job is working on people's legislation drafts. I've been in Senate for 3 years, so I know like how legislation is usually written. And even if I like personally disagree with something, I still want to make sure that everything we consider is in the best form it can be. Are there any questions?
What questions do we have? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you. The Internal Affairs Director.
All right, hi guys. First, shout out to our architecture senators. If you go behind Spencer, they actually have a sculpture there, so that's pretty cool. You should check that out. Second, scattered along assembly, there's some papers with a QR code to sign up for a focus group for the surveys that they give us all at the end of every class where we're evaluating our teachers. KU admin recognizes that those aren't very good and they would love student input on improving that. And then third, please fill out the attendance poll. It is in the voting channel. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions for the Internal Affairs Director? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Acclamations?
Oh, yeah, sure. You want me to do that?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
The next item on our agenda is the appointment of replacement senators. These have all gone through the normal application process through the Internal Affairs Director. The replacement senator up for liberal arts and sciences, freshman, sophomore, Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, went through the process for if we have multiple applicants for a single position, which is the Internal Affairs Director selects 5 student senators at random and asks them to select which person will be presented at assembly. So Brandon Marks was chosen through that process, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Both of these have vacant positions that they can fill. First up is Bryce for the School of Social Welfare. Is Bryce present tonight? Yes. Would you like to introduce yourself? I think there is a microphone behind you. Yes.
Hello, my name is Bryce Beasley Murray. I'm a freshman and I'm here to represent the School of Social Welfare. I'm very happy to be here.
Are there any objections to the appointment of Bryce for the School of Social Welfare? Hearing none, congratulations. Second is Brandon Marks for the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences, freshman and sophomore division. Is Brandon present tonight? Yes. Could we please get the catch box passed back?
Hi, my name is Brandon Marks. I'm a freshman. I'm majoring in political science on the pre-law track, and I'm in the LEAP program as well.
Thank you very much. Is there any objection to the appointment of Brandon for the School of Liberal Arts and Sciences, freshman and sophomore division? Hearing none, congratulations. So we will get both of the replacement senators added to the voting channel for the assembly so that they can vote in our upcoming legislation. We'll also get you on the roster as official student senators. The meeting will be held at these. Dr. Bell? Are you wanting to do Without objection, we will proceed to the guest speaker. I have a wireless mic here if you'd like. Which appears to be not working.
I can hear.
All right. Thank you very much. Pass it out. All right. Oh, wait. No.
While he's passing that out, I will say don't fill it out yet because you only have a minute to do it, okay? So. That's all. Raise your hand if you were at the Capitol School today. Nice. I want you to know, my colleagues had only positive things to say about you. And they sought me out. It's not like I went looking for them to say how impressed they were with. They said, your students. So you must have made a good impression. So for those of you who came over, thank you so much, because we are talking a lot about higher education. And last Tuesday, all of the presidents and the chancellors from the region institutions, all 6 in Washburn, spoke. And it's sort of like now this week and then going into the end of next week, it will have a big impact on higher ed funding. So I want to thank you very much for the time you spent in the Capitol today, talking with the Senate and the House members as well. This is an exercise that I have done before, and thank you. And when I was in student affairs, I was one of the advisors to Student Senate. When I was in college, I was in our Student Senate, and I was student body president. So I'm real familiar with the kind of things you do. So I will simply say, but this one is called forced choice strategy, okay? Most of us might be a little of this and a little of that and in between. But in this case, you can't be in between. You have to make a choice, all right? So if you open it, flip it over, look it over, and circle. Don't write, because that'll take too long. And I apologize for being late. I got here right at 6:30, but it took me that long to park. And since I'm a faculty member, I know how long parking takes on campus. And I'm behind Fraser, but I've been behind Fraser many times, all right? So when you look at it, just circle. Start, 1 minute. Did you have any more? Oh, did you run out?
So I think everyone got one except for us.
Oh my goodness. I'll give you that one because I kept one over here. I think they're 4 short. Maybe I can take one and just make copies real quick. Yeah. You get it from them. But I have to keep this one. Okay. All right, that was a long minute. All right. Now, I don't know how, we'll see how we're going to do this. Normally, I have you move, so I'm going to try it back here, okay? This side, kind of move, just stand up, push your chairs in, and move this way, and you do the same thing. Okay, so push your chairs in and stand behind them. I think that'll work. I think I've done that way before. Just push it in and then back up. And you'll push it back and kind of back up as a group, but on either side. Oh, so you're kind. All right, just back up a little bit, back up. Sort of like make a little group back here. But you have to be able to come in this space or you won't have space. So just back up because I'm going to ask you something. And yes, that'll help. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do for you is number 1, it's forced choice strategy. Like I say, you have to make a decision. The other thing is the rules are very simple. when you were filling this out, there's no such thing as a right, wrong, a right answer, a right, wrong, negative answer. This is your answer. That's not how we, facilitate in life, because it's sort of like you got to be right or wrong, or you have to be negative or positive or something. But if what you circled is not right, wrong, good, or bad, negative or positive, it's just your answer. And for the purpose of the next 35 minutes, that's what it is, your answer. Unfortunately, people want to put people in a box and put a label on them and everything else. And people who know me well know that I have a problem with labels, because labels are just labels. It's not a human being or what you think or what you do. Okay. So I will ask you that, but keep in mind, if it's not good or bad, right or wrong, negative or positive, you can almost say what you want. What people normally do when they ask them something, they think, wait a minute, what are my friends are going to think? Oh, is that negative? Oh, no, that's not good. I can't go there. But you can tonight, okay? So we're going to start with the first answer, more of a saver or a spender, all right? So what I'm going to say here, and you'll have to move pretty quick, I want all the savers over here and the spenders over here. And this guy says right away, see you, man. All right. That's pretty good. All right. So I'm going to go quickly. Normally, this takes about an hour, 15 minutes, but I'm going to go quick. So that means that I may not ask you every single one to move on, but I will on some key ones. Okay. The savers were here. Am I correct? Spenders were here. All right. I just want somebody, I'll point to you since I don't have a name. Normally, I would never do that, but I'll simply say, tell me why you're a spender. That's okay. I don't want to have to repeat after you, so say it loud. He said, that's how I was raised. Why are you a spender?
Money's meant to be spent.
All right. Why are you a spender?
You can't take it with you.
All right. You were raising your hand, so tell me.
I like to party.
Oh, I like the honest people. Just tell you what it is. All right, right here. Tell me.
I'm kind of broke right now, so I kind of have to.
You're broke right now. All right. And why are you?
I try to be saver, but yeah, I'm broke. Got the bills. Okay.
Well, you have the bills to pay. Okay. Anyone else over here want to tell me why you're a spender? Just tell me. Yes.
Because if you're saving it, that means you're just going to spend it. Like, there's an objective in saving.
Okay. Very good. All right. Savers over here. Right here. Yes. Say it loud enough so they can hear. That's the first rule, too. If you say something and people can't hear you, why were you saying it? So this is for this exercise. But I tell people, whether I'm in the legislature, whether I am in the middle of a conversation, if I have something to say, I'm going to say it loud enough so people hear it. Okay? That's my right. As long as I'm not putting you down, I'm not negative about you, I'm not doing all that kind of stuff, I can voice my opinion. And anyone should be able to do that. But say it loud enough so people can hear. So tell me.
I grew up poor and I don't want to go back.
All right. Right here.
My parents had like poor spending decisions and it put them in poor situations. So I don't think.
Oh, nice. Right here.
Same thing goes prior family spending experiences.
Okay. And yours?
I have a lot of anxiety about money.
Okay. And I see you nodding like, do you have anxiety or you have something else about money?
I have anxiety about money. I also feel guilty when I spend money. It's just how I was raised.
All right. Well, let me see. Is there anybody over here who feels really strongly about being a saver that you would like to have a little bit of debate with a spender? Anybody over here thinks you can have an argument? All right. Right over here. Right over here. Now, who over here in spenders thinks that you can match his argument?
What if, like, we don't want to be spenders? Like, we're just like that's, I don't know if we disagree with that side at all. Does anybody disagree with that?
All right, but the truth of the matter, this is called forced choice strategy. You chose the one that you identify with most. Okay, maybe they don't really want to be a saver either, but you made a choice. Okay, so who wants to just argue it? All right, he's over here. Now, you're not going to be by yourself because I'm going to give you a minute to have these people here help you with the best argument you can make. So you have your own, but they have your back. So same thing with this. You get good arguments from over here, they have your back. One of the things you learn in leadership is that you never go out by yourself. You have a good idea. You may feel strongly about what it is, but if you want to get it across, you got to get other people to own it, and they got to be there to back you. Now, think of any kind of bill you want to pass here. If you don't prep somebody and get people to vote for it, you can't do it by yourself. You have the idea. You're good, you're smart, and everything else, but you need to facilitate and get other people to do it, all right? So you got a minute, go over there and talk to each other and get your argument straight.
My main thing is like, if you know anything about finance, you should know that if you have a lot of
You're a spender?
so it changes
No. You're supposed to be talking to the person who's going to be arguing.
Oh,
See,
okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
No, you're helping that person. So you're a spender. All right. So just give them your ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, we got past the point of the section.
We don't want them to be like, well, you want to share.
Yeah, it's like any kind of like injury or something.
Any other good points?
Like, you never know if you're gonna be operating on a lot, and you're like, oh, it's kind of scary. Bring in some better to have some sort of savings.
So I'm really an arguer, and they know exactly where you've been along those lines. But the point of this is to get you to listen to each other. It's also to get you to look at, be aware of what's important to other people. But more than that, why they do the things they do. If you want to know about people, you've got to listen to them. You've got to respect what they feel, why they say what they do. The other thing is, if you say something that's damning, or you say something that's derogatory, or you say something that makes people feel small, those people will either crawl into their shell even more, or they're going to get angry and they're going to come back after you. You have to ask yourself, which one would you like to do? So you keep that in mind. Remember, you may all vote the same way, but you have different reasons for doing so. Never minimize that by assuming people do exactly the same thing. People don't, because people are people and they have totally different personalities. They have wants, they have needs, they have their own reason for why they are, and they should be respected for who they are, not for who you want them to be. And too often we want people to be what we want. We don't always have to be homogeneous. We don't always have to be on the same page. We can be on different pages and still respect each other. It doesn't matter if I'm a knife or a spoon. We all have a purpose. It doesn't matter from a picture of a hook. It's just the way I see myself. And you may not see me the same way, but if you realize there are certain things that I do, then maybe it should be more respectful, more accepting, and realize that diversity can be extremely exciting. But we have to make a choice to do that. Okay. With that, I've taken enough of your time. It is my pleasure to do this. It is a pleasure, and thank you. Did you get it? Okay, that's good. And I meant to go listen to the politics, but yeah, I'm a resident of English. But you haven't been to the Dolan Institute of Politics. We have some fantastic programs. We have a student advisory board, and I invite people to just be a part of it because we're on this campus for you. I do a lot around civic engagement, leadership, and people voting and making your voice heard because that's one of the most important things here. So thank you for being such a good group tonight. I appreciate it very much.
Big thank you to Representative Ballard for joining us tonight. Okay. Since we have all of our reporting officers back in the room with us, we'll go ahead to the student body president. Also, the graduate student body president has communicated that he has no officer report for us tonight. So without objection, we'll strike that off the agenda. All right. Danae?
Okay, so not a whole lot to talk about with you guys, just a couple updates on some things. So a couple of the exec staff members, we were in DC last week for the Big 12 on the Hill conference. It went really well. We were able to meet with all of our Kansas federal legislators and advocate for higher education advocacy with them, along with all the other Big 12 institutions. So that went really well. And then today, me, along with all of my executive staff and some senators, we were at the state capitol advocating again for higher education policy for not only ourselves, but all of the public Kansas institutions. And so that went really well. It was a great opportunity. I hope all the senators that joined us, that you enjoyed yourself and had a great time, especially for those of you who it was your first year. And so that went really well. Next week, I have a KBOR meeting in Topeka. So I'll be back there again, and a SAC meeting. So I'll be meeting with all the other student body presidents. And then our outreach director, Casey, wanted me to let you all know that Student Senate will be having a movie night at Liberty Hall the week after spring break. So send any of your movie requests that you guys might have to Casey. And that's all I've got for you guys.
Questions for the student body president? Seeing none, thank you. The student body vice president. Eight. 3.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Just a few updates from me. So at the last General Assembly meeting, I was discussing an event with KU Hero as well as the resident assistants for the University of Kansas. That event was supposed to take place yesterday in Gray Little 1154. However, due to inclement weather, that event has been rescheduled and will be taking place in the month of April. So that event is essentially a Narcan and fentanyl test strip presentation from KU Hero to provide RAs with more information about how to administer them. Unfortunately, they will not be certified or receive any training. However, it'll be an informative session for them. Additionally, one of the platforms that I talked about a lot last semester was in relation to the Jayhawk Hub. So that's kind of like a digital student experience project that I've been working on with Dr. Kim Warren and Dr. Melinda Fowles in the university academics. And so essentially this digital hub would kind of be like an all-encompassing canvas tile with information about like KU parking, recreation services, more information about class schedules, advisors, et cetera, et cetera. And so I did submit a proposal to the Student Experience Digital Committee. And now I'm actively working with University Senate President Josh Arpin, as well as the University Senate Faculty Representative Brendan Mattingly, to send out a university-wide survey to get feedback from students, faculty members, and staff members about what they would like to see in this Canvas tile, just to make sure it is more equitable and representative of all of the needs and interests that students at KU are interested in. So thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for the student body vice president? All right, thank you very much. All right, we are back on track with the agenda. On to item 6, consent legislation. We have bills 2025-054 to fund Jayhawks Against Sexual Violence and 2025-058 to fund Thrive KU. These are on the consent agenda because they are in small amounts and have already received full discussion and amendments by the Finance Council. The total amount of both bills is $824. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion from Ham Penning. Did you have a?
Can I add a quick little thing?
Sure.
I would like to make a motion to amend the bill for a bill to fund Thrive KU.
You'd like to remove that from the consent agenda?
Yes, because I'd like to make an amendment to it.
Okay, are you withdrawing then? Okay. Is there any objection to removing Bill 2025-058, a bill to fund Thrive KU, from the consent agenda? Objection? Sure. Could you describe the amendment that you would propose?
No, we can discuss it in regular legislation. Is that correct, Chris?
Hold on. You're asking to put the markers back on? Can I just get a brief reasoning?
Simply because I double checked the inventory and those actually belong to SUA and not Student Senate. That was a mistake on my part.
The student body vice president states that the reasoning for the Finance Council amending this bill to remove the markers is no longer correct because the markers are not available from the shared resource closet. Is there any objection to amending Bill 2025-058 back to the original amount of $391 in light of this fact? Sure.
No, we just need one set of markers and they can borrow it. Yeah.
Okay. So the question stated by the chair was there any objection to amending Bill 2025-058 to fund Thrive KU back to the full amount? All right, hearing none, I'll get that shown on the bill in a bit. So moving back to consideration of the full consent agenda, we have Bill 2025-054 to fund Jayhawks Against Sexual Violence, still at $447, and now a bill to fund Thrive KU at $391. This brings the total amount of the consent agenda to $938. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Yes, I'm seeing a motion from the Fund Development Director and a second from the Treasurer. Is there any objection to the passage of these two bills? Hearing none, they are considered passed. All right, we will move on to our regular legislation. We have 4 items of regular legislation for tonight. First, 2 funding bills. Second, a petition to exempt the Asian American Student Union from the prohibition on funding for travel. And fourth, a constitutional amendment to add a graduate representation to the Educational Opportunity Fund Board. I'll remind everyone before we get into the travel funding petition, that petition won't allocate funding. It just allows them to request it later. So we don't get questions about that. Is there a representative here from the KU student chapter of the College Music Society? Yes. Do you have a presentation file or are you going from the Okay, would you be able to message that on Teams to Christopher Ray? Oh, no, because like send this like house. Is that helpful? Oh, okay. Then could you please send it to the Senate speaker at KU? Yep.
Chris, what was the number for child?
938. Is that right? That feels like a lot. $391 plus 447. 838. I'm sorry. It's 838 is the total for consent agenda. Accidentally added the JRC and sexual violence bill to itself.
Yeah.
All right, I have it. All right, so this is the actual bill file. So once you're done with the presentation, can you swap back to that, please? All right, sweet. Enable editing and present. And yep, there you go. How much time do you think you need?
5 minutes, like
I'm
7.
going to give you 10 because
Yeah.
questions. The presenters from the College Music Society are recognized for 10 minutes.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Fela Rinkomola. I'm the secretary. This is Susha Lin. We're both pianists, and we're here to talk about the KU College Music Society.
Okay, so let's start with what is CMS. So CMS is the international organization connecting collegiate and independent musicians and scholars. It covers wide areas of disciplines in music industry, like music technology, pedagogy, performance, and research. And CMS is also a leader in advancing higher education in music. They address this concern and changes happening in higher education, such as AI, and through conferences, seminars, trainings, and cohorts. Those events are hosted at regional and national, international levels. All these are forging the future of music in higher education. Okay. And this is the events that we held so far. So we invited Evan Wong come to KU for concerts and master classes in early February, which the event was pretty successful. Evan Wong is a Taiwanese American pianist. He's a recording artist, soloist, and educator, and he's a professor teaching at Taipei National University of the Arts in Taiwan.
So our big event of this semester is the 2025 Central Chapter Conference. This is a 2-day event taking place on April 5 and April 6. And all of these states are a part of the Central Chapter, but a lot of the guests that are coming in are from outside of this region, people traveling from the East Coast, West Coast, China. So during this event, there will be around 55 presentations and performances happening by musicians, composers, musicologists, and researchers. And these are graduate students as well as professors from around the country. So they'll be giving presentations, lecture recitals, performances, and workshops. And a lot of the recitals and music that will be presented at this conference is not something that you would usually hear at the Lead Center or even at our concert hall here at Swarthout. These are events that feature premieres from composers for example, from China or around Asia or here. So our guest speaker is Dr. Mary Young. She's from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and we invited her because she has very interesting research about First Nations choral music, and she's one of the very few that researches this area. She's the founder of the first ever First Nations Choral Festival, and she's co-editor of Hinshaw's Native American Choral Series. Lei Liang from Harvard, he did his PhD at Harvard University. He will be traveling from San Diego to also speak at this event. He's a composer as well, a commissioner, and does projects around music about world issues, and is also a pianist. So, other one. The benefits to our campus, KU students, and the town of Lawrence is, well, there will be career training tips. So these are things like peer reviews of presentation proposals that students can do. There will be educational training opportunities like giving lecture recitals or master classes. There will be a good chance of networking at this event. There will be promotion of musicians and culture in Kansas and the Midwest. There will be showcase of the high quality of scholarship and musicianship at KU, and opportunities for our community to engage with music in an educational way. The events and the concerts are open to the public, and it will enhance cross-disciplinary artistic collaboration.
So our fundings, honorarium is the most significant cost, and we are paying this for speakers mainly for their works ahead of time. So some researchers, they might study their research for years, and also for performers, they also prepare their and also practice for a long time. So we have this amount for honorarium, and for a photographer, so we'll have a photographer on site for a full 2 days of conference, and this is to enhance the publicity and document the event, and also promotion for the next year's conference, and also for the use for School of Music. And for the supplies, we will have lanyard and badges to keep, to help everyone identifying each other, and also for networking. Booklets and signage is for keep our conference more organized, and pre-packaged snacks for volunteers. So we will have around 5 to 10 people to help the conference, and we want to keep them healthy and also keep them energy on. So thank you for listening. This is our presentation.
Could we go to the bill file, please?
Yes.
It should be at the Microsoft Edge window at the bottom.
This one? All right.
So I'll pause speaker's time for a moment just to explain the parliamentary process. So this bill received conflicting amendments in the two councils it was assigned to. The Finance Council amended it to $1,500, and the Community Affairs Council amended it to $3,000. So because there were conflicting amendments, it fell to the Student Executive Council yesterday to decide either which version would be presented here, or to create a compromise between the two amendments so that a single version could be presented to the Assembly. Studex decided to create a compromise between the two amendments, and so decided on $2,250 as halfway between $1,500 and $3,000. So we'll resume speaker's time and proceed to questions. Question from the Fund Development Director. Could we get the catch box up? Also, I'm going to steal this microphone so we can pass it around.
This is kind of just a question for clarity. So is that $1,500 for the honorarium you guys are asking for? Is that just the entire honorarium payment for Dr. Mary Young?
Yes.
Further questions? Any further questions? Yes, question from the Student Body Vice President. Sean, would you mind passing that microphone back? don't really show up on the live stream.
That's fair. So I was just curious about this new amount, $2,850. Given that the cost of honorarium is $1,500, where do you think that extra money would be able to best be allocated?
So the remaining money will go, we'll spend it on the photographer, and then the rest of it will go to our supplies. So the signage, booklets, lanyards, badges, and food, snacks for volunteers.
Further questions? All right, any further questions? Going once? Going twice? Yes, in the back. Could we get a catch box thrown back? Thank you, Hamp.
Hi, this is Mark Harley, representative of education. One question, what did you guys, I was in the finance council meeting, how did you guys readjust to the 2,250 limit? Oh,
Yes, Studex created a compromise between the community affairs and the finance amendments.
oh yeah, I was saying how did they, because I know they were talking about hiring extra performers, not extra performers, but like how did you guys readjust from that original budget to now? Like how are you going to, what kind of performers are we looking for now, I guess, if that makes any sense?
So the people that we're inviting are guest speakers. So the performers that are coming, we don't actually have to pay them. They're coming to the conference to present their work. Yeah.
And also for the rest of, we also figure out, just apply to Pepsi Fund. So, hopefully we'll get that for food. And also, for other fundings, we are still seeking for having more from the national, the CMS conference, CMS organization. So still working on it, but hoping so that's why we have that higher budget before, but we are seeking more different paths for getting funding. So that's why we adjust that for our budget.
Any further questions for the speaker? Yes, go ahead.
So, hi, Emma, College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. So just to clarify, because I was in the Community Affairs Council, and the reason we had just amended it to 3,000 was for both honorariums. So just to clarify, that extra $750 would not be going towards the second honorarium. You would be spending it on something. You would be spending it on other things.
So the other guest speaker, we have to pay him way more than $750. So that funding will find somewhere else.
Okay. Follow-up question. What kind of other fundraising efforts outside of students? And I saw on the actual legislation that you had just mentioned Pepsi funding, but was there any other fundraising efforts that you guys are doing outside of Student Senate?
Well, we did put in the effort. We asked the School of Music, but their budget is zero. So it will come from the CMS national organization. Yeah.
Speaker's time has expired. If there are further questions, we can extend time. Otherwise, we'll move into the speeches or motions period. Did you have a question? Okay, sure.
Hi, Tanya here. I moved to amend the bill to, allocate 1,500 worth of funding instead of the 2,250.
Okay, there's been a motion to amend the bill to $1,500. I see a second in the back from Mia. All right. Okay, I see an objection to unanimous consent, so we'll go ahead into brief discussion and then we'll vote on the amendment. Let's say without objection, 5 minutes discussion time for the amendment. Okay. All right, is there discussion on the amendment? Yes, sure.
The rationale for my decision is that the 2,250, which was arrived upon by StudX, would not only yield like $50 extra in terms of like funding that would be given to CMS, but I think it would be most prudent for Student Senate to only provide the 1,500 for the honorarium, especially given the fact that CMS is seeking funding elsewhere, especially from the national division.
Further discussion? Yes, I see discussion from the chair of the Community Affairs Council.
Kenna McNally, Chair of Community Affairs Council. I think that we should remain at the 2,250 that StudX decided on because as we can see, Student Senate has already decreased their funding request by over $4,000. So we're asking them to find at least $4,000 from another source. And so asking them to find $5,000 isn't, when we have the money, like we should be spending it.
Fund Development Director, Ivana, thank you.
Ham Pennian, Fund Development Director. I mean, I feel like there are some arguments being raised about the 2,250 being too high. I think if we wanted to compromise maybe one more time, maybe, I personally would advocate that we cover the 1,500 for the honorarium in addition to the 200 for the program booklets, which I feel for this sort of conference style event is a very essential item that they will need to provide. And I feel like that is a good way that we can spend $200. So, I mean, I don't know what other people are thinking, but I would maybe say we could propose a re-amendment to maybe 1,800, 1,500 for the honorarium, 200 for the program booklets, and the 100 of general funding. Just open to ideas.
So that was a proposal for another amendment to $1,800. Are you modifying your motion or are you staying at 1,500? Okay. Is there any further discussion? We are discussing the amendment to $1,500. There's no discussion. We'll go ahead and have a vote on this. All right. Yeah, oh no, so. Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we amend Bill 2025-056 to an allocation amount of $1,500. This motion takes a majority to be agreed to. The poll is up in the Assembly voting channel currently. All of the replacement senators should have access to the voting channel. This will be a 1.5-minute vote. If you do not have access to the voting channel, but you are a voting member, please come to the front and we'll get you sorted out. So if this fails, we'll go to improve 25 votes. Okay. I don't like you because I didn't know about that. Is that right?
5 minutes.
I say it. Usually I walk around, but. Even new quiz or new one? Okay. Voting is now closed. On the question of amending Bill 2025-056 to an amount of $1,500, in favor 14, opposed 30, abstaining 0. Accordingly, the motion to amend is lost. We will return to discussion of the bill as it stands currently. Are there further amendments? We can also do positive and negative speeches on the bill itself.
$1,500 for the honorarium, $200 for the program booklets, and the $100 of general funding.
Okay. There's been a motion from the Fund Development Director to amend the bill to $1,800. Are you all right with just amending the allocation amount? Because the previous amendments didn't touch the actual budget. Okay. Is there a second to $1,800? I see a second from the Vice Chair of the Student Rights and Affairs Council. Is there any objection to an allocation amount of $1,800? Yes? Okay, objection from the Chair of the Community Affairs Council. Without objection, we'll do, is everyone all right with 3 minutes discussion? Do we want to do 5? 3, okay. Without objection, we will discuss the proposed amendment for 3 minutes and then proceed to vote with no intervening motions. All right, discussion on the amendment for $1,800. Yes, Chair of the Community Affairs Council.
Kenna McNally, Chair of Community Affairs Council. While I do agree that paying at least one honorarium and for the booklets is required, so is paying for a photographer for an event of this size for 2 days. Having a photographer and proof that an event like this happened and was successful is crucial to getting funding for events like this in the future. If you can't prove that you had anybody there, people likely aren't going to give you money. Also, a photographer should be paid adequately, and $500 for 2 days is really the bare minimum for a photographer for an event like this, and so I don't think that we should be cutting the funding.
Further discussion on the amendment. Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and get this posted in the voting channel in just a moment. So collect responses. The poll is up in the Assembly voting channel. This will be a 1-minute vote. I'm so sorry. You guys can sit down if you want to.
All right. Yeah, this is mine.
Okay, 36 responses in favor, 15 opposed. So I imagine we'll go to motion to make it higher, because I don't think there's really a compromise somewhere between 1,800 and 3,000. Kenna, can you approach the table for a moment? So are you wanting to amend it up or you?
Hey, how are you doing? Thank you. Happy Ash Wednesday to you as well. I am. No, I just went outside and rubbed it on my hand. I'm kidding. I just think that joy is funny. I was telling Lawrence, but one of my friends who is a Christian was like, oh my God, you jerk on your head. You don't need to fix it. I was like, no.
The Assembly will return to order. Voting on the motion is now closed. On the motion to amend Bill 2025-056 to an allocation amount of $1,800, in favor 19, opposed 22, abstaining 2. Accordingly, the motion to amend is lost. We will return to discussion on the bill as it currently stands. Motion from the Chair of the Community Affairs Council. There is a motion to vote. There is a second from the Student Body Vice President. Is there any objection to proceeding to vote on the bill at an allocation amount of $2,250? Seeing none, we will get that poll posted shortly. The poll is now up in the Assembly voting channel. This will be a 1-minute vote. Could we have Danae approach the table, please?
But you never know.
I think it's more than Chris, but it's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Usually I'm not. That's fine, I'm used to it. From you specifically. You can come up here.
You are the National Technology Council. So we have our national. Yeah, so this here was not to the finance council. Okay.
Sean, thank you. That's really, that is.
You're welcome. We should have access to restore
It's not that serious. It just.
Yeah, they were like talking about. I was sorry, at the time where you. Oh, yeah, no, what's that?
In favor of.
Oh, I found it.
Voting. Assembly will return to order. Voting is now closed. Sorry for the delay. We had to get some people sorted out on the voting channel. What? Yeah, okay. Thank you. On the question of passage of Bill 2025-056, in favor 37, opposed 7. Accordingly, this bill passes. And the passage is at the allocation amount of $2,250. We'll proceed to the next item on our agenda, which is a bill to fund Jayhawks for science policy. Do we have a representative from the club here? Hi. Send it to me over. Send it to me or
Both, actually.
All good. I need to talk to the next person because I keep forgetting to ask them to just send it in advance. Thank you. Much appreciated. This is a PowerPoint file, but it opened as, at least for some reason, I'm just going to download it as.
But the looks are similar. Received it, I guess, as a PowerPoint.
All good. And, oops.
Very well, so. Do you tan very well as well? I'm speaking. What do you use?
Okay, and how long would you like to present? Is 15 minutes fine because we also include Q&A in that.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I only have like 8 slides.
Okay, and then once you're done with that, can you please go back to this bill?
Yeah, I'm down there.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
And then I am 057.
Yeah, like 1 second. I just realized I forgot a comma there. There we go. No. All right, display mute off. Oh, I just broadcast my inbox, didn't I? Did I?
No one looked.
Thank you, Ethan. And present. 15 minutes, right?
That's perfect.
The presenter for Jayhawks for Science Policy is recognized for 15 minutes.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Jessica Jinen Fandensteel. I'm the president-elect of Jayhawks for Science Policy. Some of our core tenets of our organization is to advocate for science communication. So we want our members to be able to effectively communicate their science to both the public and to legislatures. Another core tenet is community engagement. We hope to do community service and outreach, but also we want to kind of break down the barriers of science and make it more accessible to the public and our surrounding community. And lastly, we want to interface with local legislature to help inform policy as well as potentially look into becoming policymakers ourselves. So who we are, more specifically, is we're a brand new organization. We just started this fall. So we're getting up and running. And with that, we also are getting up and running with funding. Our members include students from 12 different departments. We're very interdisciplinary. Everyone in this room could join if they'd like. We have 2 different campuses. So we offer our organization both here at the main Lawrence campus, and then we also have members from KUMC. And we also are open to both undergraduate and graduate students. We have about 35 people signed up for our bi-weekly newspaper. 28 of those students are registered on Rock Chalk Central. And then we average about 15 students per our in-person meetings. We also have virtual meetings. That way our KUMC students can attend. And this average varies based on if we have a speaker or we're doing some type of in-person like workshop, like what I'm pitching you guys today. So what we want to do is we are hosting a policy workshop in conjunction with Scholar Strategy Network. And what we have tried to do to allocate funds for this is the first thing that we did is we negotiated the price down from $4,500 to $2,000. So our president did painstaking measures to try to ensure that this workshop would be something that our members could be afforded to them. And so we also acquired funds from the Institute of Policy and Social Research. And then we just recently had a fundraiser to try to garner the amount of funds that we need for the workshop. But for today, what we're asking from the Senate is $1,500 to get us to that $2,000 goal. And what that would pay for is a 60 to 90 minute workshop. These are breakout sessions. And what we would work on is connecting and building relationships with legislatures and policymakers. It's very important that policymakers develop trust with scientists to kind of break down those barriers. There's been a lot of mistrust with science as of recent. So building those relationships will help advocate for our policy. We will get policy brief writing instruction so we can continue to inform policy both here at University of Kansas and then in our future work. And then we also want to engage with state legislature sessions to know when to talk to them and how to form those relationships. And this will be a virtual workshop. So again, we'll have a lot of attendance because both KUMC and Lawrence campus will be able to attend this workshop. So biggest thing about this is that the workshop is provided to all Kansas or KU students. So if you want to learn about science policy, you can attend in April. The idea is to develop tools and skills necessary to impact policy-related research, and we're trying to thrive or impress upon our members cooperation, communication, and trust with scientists to policymakers. And with that, I will leave you with our core tenets, and I'll answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Questions for the presenter? Any questions? Question for the Fund Development Director.
I think this is something now more than ever is absolutely essential for our country/world, especially with the general sentiment about science and different policies and agendas coming through the federal government. I think this is a great way to address on kind of a grassroots level this general idea that science is kind of heading towards this place where it's scientists against the government. And I think this is a great way to do it. And so with that being said, I would like to introduce a motion to vote on this legislation.
There has been a motion to vote by the Fund Development Director. Is there a second? I see a second from the Chair of the Community Affairs Council. Are there any objections? You have an objection in the back. Reason for the objection, if you could.
One second.
They can't hear you on the live stream and the recording if you don't have a microphone.
Gotcha.
You're good.
Personally, I love the concept of it, but I believe the virtual aspect of it is very limiting. Not limiting in the sense that people can join into it, just limiting on the fact that it's kind of lazy in a sense that it just makes you, no one's going to participate, at least me personally. I am less to participate in a virtual setting rather than it is in person.
Are you willing to reserve the right to object and we let the presenters answer that? So you won't object right now, but we can hear the presenters' thoughts.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So first and foremost, every single member of our organization has, they have allocated their time for this. This is something that they want. And I will say, if I brought a speaker in, the funding that I would require would be far more than the amount allocated here. So allowing for that accessibility to my members, as well as they want this. This is a part of their time that they're willing to give. It's not just like a class that they have to take that's a general study. They come at 7 p.m. on a Thursday night every time we have a meeting because they want to be a part of this. This is something greater than just paying attention on a workshop on a Saturday that you don't care about. All my members care about this agenda. So
Does that answer the reasons behind your objection?
Yes.
Okay, are you still holding the objection or are you withdrawing? Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we vote. Is there an objection?
can I just ask a quick question?
Okay.
So I am curious, how do you recruit the students that are involved in your organization?
Well, that's a great question. Well, first thing that I did is I canvassed at Hawk Week. So we tabled at Hawk Week. We were trying to get just people to understand what science policy means, because there's a lot of misnomers about just science in general. So we wanted to get a foundation of just getting a general understanding. And then through that, what we've done is we have social media outlets. So we also have a website, and we recruit within our department. So I will send out like an email blast for my administrative assistant to kind of canvas my department as well as the 12 other departments that are associated with our organization.
Okay, we have a motion to vote. There's been a second. I'll look for objections, or if there's no objection, we'll go ahead and get the poll posted, but no more questions at this time. Is there an objection to proceeding to vote? All right, hearing none, thank you very much. Question? Nice. Okay, the poll is up now in the Assembly voting channel. Minute and a half. This will be a 1.5-minute vote.
You're like our cousin. Yeah. So yeah, I actually was in on behalf of Sophie because she's sick.
Yes.
That's why I'm here. Yeah.
Very unfortunate.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So she is the chair of community.
Yeah, so she does like community service. She just took the role and I'm trying to get her to be because I'll be the president and chair. So that's, but she would do it.
And how long is your term?
It's 1 year, well, if you're a president, like it's 2 year term, but then it's a 1 year term. And it's yes.
Yeah. Sophie's, of course,
She's gonna take over the world.
She really will. Yeah. But low-key, I'd be happy.
Oh, I feel.
I love you.
Yeah.
Every time someone does like the early motion to vote because everyone agrees on it, there's always like 3 questions after that. And we always end up holding the motion about to answer the questions. No one ever raises their hand immediately when I ask it. They look around and then they raise their hand once I do.
Yeah, you did.
It's
Well, also, like, people are still taking time to, like, process the information and stuff, so people are, like, jumping in. I was like, okay, yeah. I'm gonna this year. That's what I'm doing. Yeah, but I'm waiting for you to get upstairs.
I'm sorry about that, but Robert's rules. All right. The assembly will return to order. Voting is now closed. On the question of passage of Bill 2025-057 to fund Jayhawks for Science policy at an allocation amount of $1,500, in favor 37, opposed 3, abstaining 2. Accordingly, the bill is passed. We will proceed to the next item on our agenda, which is petition 2025-059, a petition to exempt the Asian American Student Union from the prohibition on funding for travel. I believe we have a representative from the Asian American Student Union here. Here's the petition document for you. 10 minutes good? 10 minutes includes questions. All right, that's fine. Order, please. The presenter from the Asian American Student Union is recognized for 10 minutes.
Hi, my name is Joseph. I'm the treasurer for the Asian American Student Union, or ASU as we like to call it. So I'm just here to request an exemption from the travel prohibition that the previous treasurer implemented last semester. We're not asking for any money yet. This is just the exemption. So I've requested money through line funding. That's up to the treasurer and I don't know, your council to decide that, whether we get that money. But we're just requesting money to send our members and I guess anybody else that wants to join and wants to go to these events to our twice yearly conference that we're a partner school of. So MASU is the overarching, I guess, organization that I think they have about 20 schools in it, where each school has like an Asian American Student Union. And every year, twice a year, they get together at one of the host schools and they have a conference. So in the fall, it's called MASU X. It's a one-day conference. This is something that we held at KU last semester, where we had about 150 people come from, I think, 11 different schools. And in the spring, they have a longer conference. I believe it's 3 days. It's called just the MASU conference. And so it's a way for members to network with other individuals. They do like family games, so it's a lot of connections. There's usually a bunch of workshops, so leadership workshops. There's a keynote speaker. Usually there's a lot of cultural things too, because it's Asian oriented. So it's a way for a lot of people, especially those who haven't been really in touch with their culture, to kind of learn and experience their own culture as well as the culture of similar people around them. So because we had it this year, we had the smaller conference this year at KU. We didn't have to request travel funds. but we did have to request travel funds for the spring conference, which is happening in 2 weeks. We ran into a little bit of an issue where this bill kind of put a roadblock in our way to request funding. So I'm asking for an exemption to make it easier for next year's board and next year's members who want to go. It's just easier for them to get it so that they have a way that they can basically, it's easier for our members because right now the cost of travel, especially hotels and things like that, is really high, just no matter what, to go to a conference. Minimum, it's $300 like a night for a hotel room that you put 4 people in, on top of travel expenses. So we're asking for just the exemption so that we give ourselves the best opportunity to let our members go if they want to. We don't want the money aspect of it to stop somebody from being able to go to our conference that we're a part of. So other than that, I mean, we're not asking for any money. So it's just to potentially get money for the next year is what we're doing. So if you guys have any questions about it, be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions for the presenter? Question from the Internal Affairs Director.
Hi, so if you guys were not able to go to this conference, would ASACU dissolve?
They wouldn't dissolve, but it's one of the biggest events of the year. I guess the biggest events of the academic year for the fall and spring semester that gives our members an opportunity to outreach basically, because we're sending members usually to a different school. They're getting to interact with students from however many schools that send their members, and then it gives them a bigger opportunity to have I guess networking and like being able to build new connections with people that they would never ever meet if they just stayed at KU. So it wouldn't dissolve our organization, but it would take away a large aspect of the social and the leadership aspect.
Thank you.
Question from Shay, did you still have one?
You might have already answered this, but have you received funding for this before?
Like just this year or
Previous years?
We have. Usually we get funding for it every year.
Gotcha.
Yes, in the back there.
Do I have permission to ask a 2-part question?
Sure.
Okay. The first part of my question is how much in line item funding did you receive this year? And the second part of my question is how much do you envision to request next year for travel funding?
I believe line funding for this year. Are you asking line funding for our org as or just for this event?
Just for this event.
We didn't get any for this event. We did request, sorry, it's off the top of my head. I'm trying to remember. I think it was $6,000 for both in total. So the problem with line funding is that we don't know how many members want to go each year. So I requested a larger amount than we'll probably use so that we cover our bases. And so we probably will never use the amount that we've requested. It's just requested in case to give ourselves just a chance to send everybody that wants to go. And we're not excluding people that can't go because we don't have enough money.
Question from the Student Body Vice President.
Oh, no, I did have a second part, how much.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was the 2-part.
Oh,
Go ahead.
no, I don't think the second part of my question was answered. How much do you envision to request next year if the prohibition is lifted?
What's the number?
I think
what
amount are you planning to apply for?
Well, we've already applied for it. I would have to look at the number that I requested. Sorry.
Do you know a rough figure for what you applied?
I think it's 6,000 to 8,000 for the entire thing, for fall and spring.
So for the whole organization, not just for this?
Are you asking about the entire allocation of line funding or just for this conference?
So my question was 2 parts. The first part was how much in-line funding did you request this year? And the second part of my question was if this bill were to pass and, I suppose the prohibition on travel funding was lifted, how much do you envision to request for this event in the future? So just tell me how much you've requested now and how much you plan to request in the future.
Okay, one thing. The way our Constitution works, they get the exemption for 1 year. They would come back next year if they want to do the event again.
Okay, I suppose I'm a little confused now because a lot of the point made in the speech was that this I suppose what do you call it? This this prohibition is being lifted for next year's board from what I understood in the speech.
I think we have a clarification from the fund development director.
For this year, earlier in the academic year, for this year's conference, they requested $2,862 in funding from the Community Development Fund, and we amended it down to $1,552 and approved that. So part of this conference this year was funded by the student.
Could you repeat the last part of the question once this is turned on? Turned completely off.
Yeah, you can just have this.
Okay, yeah. Point of information. Earlier this academic year, for this spring's conference, AASU was approved $1,552 to attend this conference in community development funding. That was not the total cost, or that was not the total amount that they requested. We amended it down. The initial amount was just under $3,000.
Do you still have clarification? Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I mean, you can go ahead if you want. Okay, yeah, so their line request for this year, they had it was a two-part request, so 3,600 and then 4,800 for the two numbers that they requested.
Sorry, which one is for travel? Are they both for travel?
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
Do
so
you
what's
have
the
anything
total?
I can't do math. Give me a second.
Aren't you doing that?
Yeah. Thank you.
8,400 total. Okay, everyone. Okay, we've checked through the applications. The total amount they are applying for is $8,400 through line funding. And both of those are for travel? Yes. Okay, both of those are for travel. Okay, so just parliamentarily, if this exemption is approved, they will continue to apply for $8,400 through line, and that will go to the line item funding committee, to finance, and to assembly to decide what amount they get from that. If the exemption is not approved, then I believe the application will just be struck out since they're requesting. The application would be struck out since they're requesting something that is against the rules provided in our Constitution. Is that right? Okay, so we'll go back to questions for the presenter. Yes, Ivana.
So my question was regarding the eligibility of members to attend the conference. You said you weren't trying to prohibit anyone from going. Are there any selection criteria, or is it just based on whoever is interested gets to go?
So we're not in charge of registration unless we're the host school. So usually what happens is we'll promote it at our our meetings, and we'll promote it online in our social media. And whoever wants to go can apply for it. And usually internally we'll have like a sign up sheet. So we'll include them in our funding request. So there's no, I guess, like membership in our organization is literally just you show up for, I guess, 2 meetings, let's say, and we know your name and we know your face, and then that's about it. So there's no like financial cost or anything like that to be a member. So it's just based on if you want to go, just go through our channels, and then we'll do the best to make it happen.
Okay, speaker's time is now expired. I will say it looks like we have a lot of questions, including 2 people I haven't reached yet. Is there any objection to a 5-minute extension of time? Are you objecting, or are you just raising your hand for questions? Okay.
I object.
There was a question. It's Jamal, right? Douglas. There was a question in the back. What?
Can I ask a follow-up question, please?
Sure. We do need the extension of time. Is there an objection to 5 minutes? No. All right. Speaker's time is extended by 5 minutes. I would like to hand it to the person in the back who has not had a chance to speak yet.
Thank you. Hi. My question was, why does the travel ban exist, and what makes your student organization exempt from it?
I can answer the part about why it exists, and then I'll pause the time and we'll get back to why they should receive it.
Yeah, please pause.
The travel prohibition exists because travel funding used to take up a significant portion of our budget back in the years when multiple organizations could apply. So allowing all organizations to apply for travel funding was changed to just allowing Model UN and Mock Trial to apply for travel funding because they were historically two organizations that depended on travel to exist. Then earlier this year, it was changed to a petition and exemption process to allow multiple student organizations to justify why they should receive travel funding instead of just those two named student organizations. And then we'll turn it over to the speaker for why AASU should receive the travel exemption.
I guess we're asking for the travel funding because it's one of the largest like conferences in the Midwest that we can send our members to. So we want to make it available to our members that want to go without the burden of financial cost as much as possible. And so we want to make it accessible to our members.
Okay, so it's
I see we have a question over on the back wall. Oh, okay.
I saw you had a follow up to your question. Do you want to do it?
Can we pass it up forward first and then we'll, oh, sorry, Douglas, did you have a question? Or Jamal?
Yeah, apparently I don't raise my hand high enough. Okay. Earlier you made a statement saying that you were requesting funding only because you wanted to get all your bases covered and that you weren't necessarily going to use all the funding you applied for. So on average, how much excess funding has ASU received historically, that it hasn't needed for travel funding? So let's say you make a request one year, how much goes unused or is surplus from that request for travel funding?
Like specifically for travel? Is that what you said? I'm sorry.
Right. So if you were to specifically make a travel request, earlier you had made a statement saying that you typically do not use all that funding for travel. Can I get an amount as to the typical excess that you observe?
We generally don't get excess because we've never usually used line funding for travel funds on the conference. We usually do it through a application through Wednesday night or CDF. So this is to kind of make it easier and make sure that we can at least secure some funding, because usually what happens with CDF is that they cut down a significant chunk of it. So we're at least trying to just make it so that we can at least guarantee that we're receiving a certain amount and receiving a certain allocation so that we can go from there and make it easier for us to figure out what we need to fund ourselves.
We'll take a question from the student body vice president, if you could pass the catch box over.
Okay, I'd like to get some clarity on the question that I asked you earlier. So any member can apply to attend this conference and then it's approved at the national level who gets to go? Or do you guys decide internally?
So it's approved by whoever. So the host school will have their own committee that kind of manages the conference. So MASU is like the umbrella organization that all the orgs fall under. And so the host school is chosen and they plan the conference. So they set up their registration. I've never heard of anybody being denied registration. Usually it's just as long as you're paying for it, you can go. And so for us, what we do is we find out who wants to go from our members, and we set up like a spreadsheet that tells us this person wants to go, yes or no. And like we include them in our funding requests.
So there's no cap on the number of people you guys will bring?
Yeah, there's no cap.
Further questions? I believe we had one for Shay, from Shay.
I'm gonna kind of restate a question that was asked earlier. You did say before that you kind of overestimated the amount of travel funding you asked for just in case extra people wanted to go. What do you do when you have an excess of funding? What do you do with that funding?
I believe it goes back to Senate, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I can recognize Ethan for a quick point of clarification.
Not just for this organization, but any organization who gets line funding who does not use all of it, it reverts back to Senate. No matter if it's for certain events, it always goes back. So if he uses less than what he was allocated, it just comes back to us.
Thank you. Are there further questions for the speaker? We'll say we have about a minute left. Okay, there's been a motion to vote from the graduate student body president. There is a second from the fund development director. Objection from the internal affairs director. Do you want to say more?
I have a neg speech. Please.
Are you willing to withdraw from for the negative speech, or are you continuing? Yes.
I'll
be short for it.
I will keep my motion. I think we're come to a consensus.
Okay, so are you still objecting?
Yeah.
Okay. There's been a motion, everyone. There has been a motion to end discussion, moved and seconded with an objection. So we will go ahead and vote. This is a vote to end discussion and proceed immediately to passage. Can you like flesh it out a bit? Okay. Hey, calm down. Which one is it? 2025-059.
Can you give a speech? I'd like to hear you speak.
Where's, okay. Good. We'll do a 1 minute vote. Let me know when it's posted and I'll do the whole explanation because people get confused about this. Okay, everyone. The poll is up now in the Assembly voting channel. As a reminder, this is a motion to end discussion. If the motion is agreed to, we will proceed directly to voting on passage of the petition. If the motion is not agreed to, we will continue discussing the petition, potentially with a negative speech. This motion takes a 2/3 vote because it affects the right of debate. This will be a 1 minute vote. I think you're good to sit down now.
Oh, okay. Do I need to leave or?
No, you don't have to leave. You can hang around. You just don't have to stay.
If they vote no or whatever, and it goes
I think if they vote no, we're going to go into debate. So, I mean, you can answer from like where you're sitting, but we're going to have probably other people come up here. Okay. Thank you very much for the.
I'll be so, but you're bound for that. I don't need to bring that. You're literally exhausted. If it's okay, you get 2 more seconds.
Yeah, I can lose it. You also see that.
The Assembly will return to order. Okay. I know. Oh, what was the voice? Oh, I don't have to vote then. I mean, I could vote in favor.
You do your job.
Okay, everyone. The Assembly will return to order. Thank you. Voting is now closed. Guys, we get out of here faster if we can read the results. Okay, on the motion to end discussion on petition 2025-059, in favor 27, opposed 14. Accordingly, the motion is not agreed to. Again, 2/3 vote. So we will proceed with debate. We had a negative speech on the pending from the Internal Affairs Director. Robert, 5 minutes, good.
I said 3, but okay, 5.
No, eight. Yeah, sure. Thank you. I think he put in a placeholder for himself.
heck no! I did.
Everyone,
We don't need that much time for questions.
in order, please. The Internal Affairs Director is recognized for 5 minutes.
Okay, hi guys. So I'm up here today because a lot of us are new. We were not here in, I believe it was cycle 3 when we made this rule. So let me just illuminate you guys on what that was all about. So frankly, this petition of exemption does not meet the burden of vitality. We used to have travel funding in community development fund, and the only people who got it in Wednesday night fund was Montreal and Model UN just because of precedent. Because of the deficit, our previous treasurer made a bill that said, hey, everyone who wants travel funding is going to have to get a petition, and the qualification to get that petition is that it is vital to the organization. So for example, Jayhawk Motorsports, their whole purpose is to go compete. So it makes sense for them to get travel funding because if they didn't have travel funding, there'd be no purpose for their organization existing. Black Student Union, the Divine Nine sororities, they can get travel funding because if they weren't going to their conferences, then their organizations that are like hundreds of years old just blow up. They don't get recognized anymore because it's like fraternities and sororities. This organization is asking for this travel funding, this exemption, I should say, just so that they can have outreach and leadership. It's a great experience, and I wish we could fund them through CDF, but this is not what the rules are anymore. I am now open to questions.
Questions for the Internal Affairs Director. Secretary of the Finance Council.
What you kind of alluded to a couple, but what petitions have we approved? So what exemptions have we granted thus far?
Mock trial, whose whole purpose is to compete, and Veteran Students of America. Am I missing any? And then Black Student Union. Only 3.
Thank you.
That's correct. Are there further questions? Up here.
My name is Ava Guerra Harris, College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, but I was just wondering what makes them all the less like not valuable to get this compared to other organizations on campus.
It's not that the organization itself is less valuable, it's that the function of the conference is less valuable, right?
In what way?
This conference is for, I'm not going to say for fun, but it's like for great things, but it is not vital to the organization existing. Whereas these other organizations, if they don't go to conference, then they're like national organization, like disqualifies the local chapter. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does.
I see a question over here.
It's not really a question. It's just to basically like explain from the point of the Black Student Union, like we're literally
Is there a question for the presenter?
Point of information.
Yeah, point of information.
Okay.
Yeah, like we're literally hosting like it's called the Big 12 conference. We're hosting the conference next year. So us going to these conferences is a very big part of our organization. That's why things like travel were exempt for a lot of these things, just to like clarify that to where some clubs aren't getting it or some clubs are getting it.
Could we pass it over the aisle? Yes, did you have a question for the presenter?
I have a point of information, I guess.
Nope. Okay, we're going over to the chair of the Community Affairs Council, then we'll come back to you.
So my question is, what makes Asian American Student Union's conference, which if I remember correctly from Black Student Union, which I like presentation on why their conferences are required, and as Lawrence just talked about, they're both important for leadership development, cultural education, and networking. Why should ASU not be able to apply for travel funding?
It's like, I would defer to ASU on like, again, is your organization going to be disqualified if you cannot go to this conference?
We get removed from the we get removed from like the MOS organization if we don't send people for a certain amount of time. So it kind of is integral for us being a part of that. It's not integral to our function as an organization of necessarily like KU specifically, if that makes sense.
That is very helpful information. Thank you.
Further questions for the presenter?
It's just questions. just questions.
Okay, can we get to, oh, sorry, I see we have a question from Matt Vey, who has not spoken yet. I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Yes.
You're in
So
my
since you need to send someone to the conference to be in the list, would it be enough for you to send one person, or is there a higher requirement to still be a member of your national organization?
Can we get the treasurer to Kexbox, the ASAC treasurer? Defer to him.
I believe the rules are as long as you send one, but generally with this kind of conference, you wouldn't just send one person. It's always going to be a group of people at least to a leadership conference because there's that many people that would want to go.
All right, question from the chair of the Finance Council, and then we are out of time.
If this were to pass, do you not think that the line committee would not be do you not think that they would be able to successfully decide how to allocate this money if this were to pass and accurately determine, what organization should get the money?
Right. It's not a question of fairness. I have full faith in the line community's ability to make a financially responsible allocation. It's just in meeting the principle, because if this doesn't meet the principle, then why do we even have this rule?
Okay, I will say
I'm
the
saying yes
speaker's
or no.
time is currently expired. We can have an extension or we can continue with debate. We would move on to a positive speech in favor of the petition, or we could have a motion to end debate. I see Jamal.
Can I just have 1 point of clarification? That's all. Because I heard BSU get brought up, and I'm the senator for BSU, so I feel like I should be able to speak on it.
Okay.
It won't be long.
Oh, you're on PhD.
Yeah, she's in PhD and I'm the BSU senator. So BSU was able to be to have this travel exemption because we are BSU is required to go to these different councils because we all interact with different other Big 12 school BSUs, and so
Can we please not have cross conversation in the well? Go
Another
ahead.
thing with us is that we limited the members who could go. It was capped at 50. That was very important because we didn't request as much money as they are. So that is a big thing. So it's required, and then also we capped the number. It does not seem like you're capping the number. That is all.
Okay, we are at a turning point in the debate. We will have a positive speech in favor of the petition, or we will have a motion to end debate. Is there a positive speech? Okay, we have a motion to vote. Is that a positive speech? Are you a senator or are you a student from the public?
Any student has speaking rights.
I know. Okay, are you still making the motion to vote or? Okay, we have a motion to vote. Is there an objection from a voting member? You willing to?
I'll rescind.
Okay, in that case, we'll proceed to positive speeches. Could you please come up to the desk real quick? Can I get just name and time? The speaker recognizes Wolfgang Sell for a speech in favor for 5 minutes.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to make some similarities here. This is a ban we are looking at simply not the funding, but the travel. So it's important to keep in mind the funding is a completely different discussion. So we are looking if this student organization qualifies for an actual exemption from it. So we should look at our old precedents to see what we have. So therefore, we have the Black Student Union, or it was the National Society of Black Engineers, or Black Student Union. Okay, and the Veterans Association. So these groups are marginalized, and it is a matter of vitality. So there was the point that they don't need to do this because this is a requirement. They need to go to this thing, but both increase the vitality of the organization in question. So it doesn't matter if it's required or not. It's a vitality thing. So when he said this has nothing to do with vitality, that is completely incorrect. Furthermore, if we were to say, yes, we are the Student Senate and we want to let the Black Student Union go and travel because they need it, but the Asian Student Union, they don't need that. That is a terrible precedent to set that we think that the Black student union needs the help, but the Asians don't. That goes into a huge, that goes into like a model minority thing, and it's a really important thing to think about. And it's not a laughing matter. So this is serious. So that's all I have. I'm open to any questions.
Okay. Do we have questions for the speaker in favor? Yes. Question in the back. Can we please get a catch box back?
So, in light of everyone's reactions, how do the Asian population need, or how does the Asian population how are they in favor to need more, or how is it? I guess I'm not phrasing this question well. Yes,
I'm not.
AC, sorry.
I will say I'm not sure if discussion of this point is.
To just clarify.
No, not race. I just meant like the student union, in general. How does it? Do they need it? How do you think they need it more than BSU?
I never said that. I'm saying that both are student unions. They have the same purpose. It's just literally there's an Asian student union, there's a Black student union, and if we say that the Black student union can go, but we don't say that the Asian student union can go, that is a horrible precedent to set because it's saying something that is completely racist. Continue.
Okay.
Hang on. We gotta wait.
Please do not describe any of the remarks that way. We have a question from Douglas.
It's a question.
BSU, ASU, AASU.
Mhm.
So, oh my God, question. So my question for you is, oh my gosh, never mind. You're right. Never mind. No, I take back my question because I just fumbled it.
Yes.
I move to eject the speaker from the chambers. The presenter. Can
Okay.
I not do that?
That is a larger question. Would you hold on? Order.
So
Would you be all right with just changing that to a motion to vote?
okay.
Can I make a motion to end debate and move to a vote?
Motion to vote. Second from the Fund Development Director. Are there any objections to moving to a vote? Objections by voting member, by the way. Very briefly.
Hi, Mia Keene, Senator for SVA, the mentioned organization with a petition as well that passed this semester. I just want to clarify, our organization does not need to travel to stay within the broader national organization. So I just want to clarify for posterity that we are similarly just networking for career, and that's why we got our.
I think we got a little right. Poll is posted. Robert. Option 1 or option 2? I think it was
The poll is posted. Please vote quickly.
On the new one, not the old one.
Vote on the one that has my name next to it.
The assembly will be in order. The poll is up now. Please fill out the poll posted by the chair of the Finance Council, Megan Stopperin. Apologize for the brief issue we had. As a petition to remove the prohibition for travel funding, this petition will take a majority vote for passage. That's 1/2 plus 1. This will be a 1-minute vote.
I'm so sorry. Can you
Okay. Thanks for answering the question. The poll is closed now, so all right, can I get the results, please? Could you, Robert, can you hold them up? Thank you. The assembly will return to order. On the question of passage of petition 2025-059, in favor 25, opposed 13, abstaining 2. Accordingly, the petition is passed. We will proceed to the next item on our agenda, which is Bill 2025-05. We will proceed to the next item on our agenda, which is Bill 2025-053, a bill to increase graduate representation for educational opportunity funding. This bill will be presented by the graduate student body president.
Not even 15. Hopefully this is like a 3-minute thing.
I'm going to give you 10 minutes.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Brendan. I'm the graduate student body president. What I'm looking here to do today is add an ex officio from the office or the associate vice provost of graduate studies, either or. It's just going to be an ex officio. The purpose of this is to have someone there to provide a little bit more insight on some of the specific graduate scholarships that we fund on EOF. There's a lot of different scholarships that are there. I'm pretty well versed with how graduate funding works, but some of these are a little bit above my knowledge grade and or whoever will be in this position in the next years. And so this is a great way to have a little bit more knowledge in the room of these scholarships, as well as to eliminate the possibility of duplication of funds from the Office of Graduate Studies. Does anyone have any questions?
Questions for the graduate student body president. I see a question up here from Nathan Binstock, Secretary of the Finance Council.
I was just wondering, how could this role speak to things that are distinct from the presenters who actually come and present for their own requests, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So from what my experience of was last year is we had a brief PowerPoint presentation, if that, for some of these scholarships. Some of them were just the submission of the scholarship in a brief written paragraph. And this is not, I'm not just saying it's just for the graduate scholarships. It was for all scholarships that were last year.
I can add a clarification since I presided over EOF last year. Yeah, each hearing for each of the scholarship or salary programs was 15 minutes long, usually just a brief PowerPoint followed by Q&A. Deliberations ended up being like 4 to 5 hours long. So the ex officio person would be there during the whole time period of deliberations and not just for the 15-minute hearing. Question from the student body vice president.
Can the associate, I'm just trying to get some clarification. Could the associate vice provost for graduate studies just serve as like an advisor? Do they need an actual non-voting seat if they're just providing information and clarity on the scholarship decisions?
No, based on the way the Constitution is written, if I scroll down for you, there is
You're looking for
I'm looking for
items E
oh yes,
and
thank you. So the Vice Provost of Student Affairs, which is Dr. Durham, or a designee, or
F.
F. Thank you. One representative of the Office of Student Financial Aid and Scholarships. I'm just making sure that there's someone that is there that can advocate best for graduate studies. And the two people that are there are not specifically in the field of graduate studies.
Any further questions for the speaker? Question from the chair of the Community Affairs Council. Okay, hold on one second. Did anyone else have questions that were pending? All right, no other questions? Okay. Motion to vote by the chair of the Community Affairs Council, second from the student body vice president. Are there any objections to proceeding to vote? All right, hearing none, we'll get that poll posted. The poll is up now. As a constitutional amendment, this will take a 2/3 vote for passage. This will be a 1-minute vote.
Oh, okay. Am I allowed to vote on this?
Yeah.
What do you think it's so far?
You can only, well, you can vote anytime. The presiding officer has to step down if the independence is questioned.
It's so crazy how this morning there was so much snow.
Oh, no, 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 don't
Like,
leave.
what happened? It's like so gaslit. Like, we're guys. It's crazy. We should have definitely had like a debate. I'm sorry? We definitely should have had like a debate. I didn't go to my 8 a.m. because I wanted people like stay
No, we're fine. Yeah, we have like 30 minutes.
And also, there's a lot of issues. So we should be able to get them, fill those spots.
On the question of passage of Bill 2025-053, a bill to increase graduate representation for educational opportunity funding, in favor 39, opposed 0, abstaining 2. Accordingly, the bill is passed. Are there any announcements to be made to the? I'm sorry, I almost skipped over University Senate elections. The next item on our agenda is elections for University Senate. I'll recognize the student body vice president to explain what's happening. Do you have a catch box?
Yeah, sure. I can talk about that. Yeah, so University Senate meets on Thursdays at 3:15 p.m. So that's also comprised of University Senate president, SenEx faculty, and lots of other representatives such as the provost. It's a really good way to get more information about what's going on at the University of Kansas, as well as general updates. The meetings are pretty consistent. They last a little bit longer than an hour and 30 minutes. So.
And they are monthly, right?
It is monthly, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And could you explain the current elections we have tonight?
Yeah, so currently I believe there's 2 vacant seats. Is that right, Robert? And so we're looking to fill those 2 vacancies. So if anyone is interested, this could be an undergrad or a graduate student.
Thank you. It is just undergraduate
Oh,
students.
just undergraduate. Yes,
Mhm.
thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay. So we will have nominations open. We are looking for 2 undergraduate representatives for the University Senate. I see a nomination from the student body vice president.
I nominate Mia Keene.
Okay, nomination for Mia Keene. Do you accept? Okay, Mia Keene accepts. I see a nomination in the back. If you could get that passed back.
Am I able to self-nominate?
Yes, and any student, any undergraduate student, you don't have to be in student senate already.
I'll self-nominate.
Can I get a name, please?
Ivana Stark, off-campus representative.
Oh, right. If you're an off-campus representative. All right, we're all good. Sorry, I got confused for a moment. I see one from Douglas Jamal.
Hang on.
Hold on.
Douglas.
I nominate Valerie Boyd for the position.
Sorry, can you say that again?
I nominate Valerie Boyd.
Valerie Boyd. Does Valerie accept? Okay, and see we have one over there. Could we please get the catch box passed over?
I nominate Amara Ndubisi.
Okay, Amara Anavishi, is that correct? Anubisi, I see. Do you accept?
AMARA. Yep, right there.
I see. Thank you. We have 4 nominations currently. Are there any further nominations? Is Mia- or is
No,
it-
no, yeah, Kenneth's resigning, so there's opens up another university, so we have 3.
Alright.
Thank you.
The chair of the Community Affairs Council is recognized.
I'm resigning from my university senate seat, so it can be filled by someone else.
Okay, so we now have three undergraduate representatives that we can elect to University Senate tonight. We have 4 current nominations: Mia, Ivana Stark, Valerie Boyd, Ivana Stark, Valerie Boyd, and Amara. Are there any further nominations? Okay, let's do speeches in order of nominations, if that works for everyone. So we'll have Mia first. I will get all these names written up on the big screen so we can look. Without objection, each nominee will be recognized for a speech of 3 minutes in length, followed by a question and answer period of unlimited length, and we will proceed to vote over teams following all speeches. All right. Yes, and following Senate custom, all of the nominees will be excused from the meeting room except for the one currently presenting. This is to ensure that each nominee is only speaking to their own experience and not to other nominees' speeches. Give me just 1 second, please. Did I get everyone's names right? Sorry. Okay, 3 minutes.
All good? Hi, everybody. I'm Mia Keene. Hopefully, some of you know me by now. I'm the community representative for Student Veterans of America, an organization that was briefly discussed a minute ago. I'll keep this brief, but I have been involved in Senate. This is my first year here, but I've been heavily involved. My passion for being in this organization comes from a deep passion to help all of our students here on campus. I, as a freshman coming in, just felt super disadvantaged by housing and the dining plan specifically, and that started a little bit of a personal vendetta to work towards what we can do as students to better advocate for ourselves and each other, because I think we have a real problem with institutions such as KU, not to hate on, this is an amazing school, but with just all institutions where costs are really consolidated among administrators and bonuses and, you know, this endowment we keep hearing about. Meanwhile, they put the most involved students in a room to argue about, you know, smaller amounts of money that are very important. But I think if we get more into the nitty gritty of what goes on behind the scenes, we can really break down some of these discrepancies and use the money that KU has to truly benefit all of the students and not just the institution itself. So with that purpose, that's kind of why I'm super involved in Senate. I am on the fee review board as well, and the safety committee, which has been great. And I'm just really open to learning as much as I can. I think University Senate would be an amazing way to kind of round out that experience that I've been gaining and really provide just a ton of information to the rest of us in Senate as well. Point of information for I'd say about 20 hours of deliberations and meetings we had for fee over the course of 4 days. I was there for every single meeting. I did not call in a delegate. I communicated with my teachers to make sure that, you know, they understood what I was doing and why it was important. So they understood why I was missing class. And that's something that I'll continue to do if elected to University Senate. So thank you guys so much. And I would really appreciate your vote. Thank you. Questions?
We will have questions for the nominee. I see a question from the chair of the Community Affairs Council.
Do you have class during the 3:15 to approximately 4:45, 5 o'clock on Thursdays?
My seminar is like ends at 3:30, but I can definitely get my teacher to.
Okay. Thank you.
Hold on, Douglas.
Douglas Jamal, BSU senator. I want to hear about this vendetta. Because I'm curious what kind of went on that
Oh yeah.
sparked this.
So I lived in Templin. We've all seen some health problems, mold issues there. It's way too much money for a tiny apartment. Just housing, I think, is upcharging students ridiculously. And then paired with that, if you live on campus in any of the dorms, you have to get a incredibly overpriced dining plan. And, I think the split on that is super unfortunate because at least when I was a freshman, the minimum was about $2,200 a semester and the max was $2,400. So there's really not a lot of options for students. And many students, especially those who don't have a traditional diet plan or, just didn't have access to places on campus. Like I'm vegetarian and I lived off of French fries, like seriously, and I had thousands of dollars that weren't unspent. So I think it's awful. It doesn't serve students, and the institution actually needs to listen to us when we complain about things seriously wrong like that.
The student body president has received a resignation from Annabelle Conan, resigning from an undergraduate seat in University Senate. Accordingly, we have 4 nominations and 4 open seats for undergraduate representatives. The election will stop and we'll just have a vote on no contest. Thank you very much, Mia. Sorry for having you stand up there for nothing.
Thank you, Ms. Conan.
Yeah, I know. Here, I think she's. Oh, Mateo's. Yeah, just announced it. Sorry.
We still need to acclimate.
Yep. Okay. All right. We have 4 vacancies for We have 4 vacancies for undergraduate students on University Senate, and we have 4 nominations of undergraduate students to University Senate. Accordingly, there is no contest for the seats. Is there any objection to appointing or to electing these 4 students as new undergraduate representatives to University Senate? Hearing no objection, congratulations. Robert, do you have these names down? All right, sweet. Thank you very much. Sorry to our nominees for having you go out in the hallway. I'm glad for that because I was trying to figure out how to do the poll for that on Microsoft Forms and failing. Everyone, are there any announcements to be made to the Students' Assembly? Sure. Let's do Ivana first and then you.
Actually, go ahead. You had your hand up. Just go ahead. Sorry. You go ahead. Okay. In case this hasn't been brought up, the last day to declare candidacy for elections is March 14th. So please make sure to do that if you're planning on running again for next year.
If you'd like to read more information, go to studentsenate.ku.edu/elections. That has all of the information from our Elections Commission on how to run. Are there any further announcements? Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn from the treasurer, second from Douglas Jamal. Any objections? Hearing none. See you all next week. This will be our last full legislative cycle before spring break. Can we please have the replacement senators come to the front? Are they both gone?
No, one of them. You can just email me or
Are you? You're not replacement.
You'll
You
get
are?
the excuse absence. So don't. Just send me
Okay.
an email. Send me-
Sorry, I'm a bit frazzled right now. Are you? You're not Brandon Marks, but you are. Sorry, which one was it? Social welfare? Yes, Bryce Beasley Murray. Okay.
America's favorite couple, the Grout
Oh, yes, okay. Congratulations on being appointed to Student Senate. Each of you will need to be assigned to one of our 3 student councils. Things are happening next week.
I promise, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Then we go to the assembly meeting on Wednesday. That'll be a little different.
She's doing
So
something.
we'll have a 3 weeks. Anyway, you each have selected now.
Oh, I'm gone now.
I went and hit on the
Standing
one.
people. What about that?
Should I sign up for parking?
There's finance council.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. We have
There's
all
student
this
rights
stuff
and
for
affairs,
parking.
which votes on amendments.
Okay, can you email me again?
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll follow up with you. I'll double check the vacancies and stuff, but yeah, thanks for letting me know.
So, do you want to select the council now? or- Okay, which one?
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome.
Student rights and affairs,
Just gotta
rights.
have so many people around, but there was something coming.
I could maybe, the thing is, I don't like commit
I'm
to-
taking the cash box and
Emma,
the gavel.
do you know about rights and affairs? Emma is the chair of the Student Rights and Affairs Council. She'll be meeting with her every other week. Thank you guys so much. You have any other questions?
Congratulations.
So, here you have the three council meetings, and then the summary meeting that we have.
Also, it just switches every other week. Like either you're here or we're not. So it just pretty much.
Surely.
Yep. And so at 6:30.
And rights and affairs is always meeting in the English room for the
Yeah, you go to the teams.
If you
If you guys are on the team, there's a student rights and affairs thing, and I post like the agendas, what we're doing, and all of that. So I put reminders in there, and then I also have a group meeting just because sometimes people work at group meetings, like just being like, hey, don't forget we have a meeting. So
Like there was never.
and we can talk
there was
about
like a good amount of people that were worried about safe rides.
Dude, I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know if he's gonna consider safe rides?
We have a table.
Oh.
We don't have to wait.
Oh yeah, no. Okay.
I don't actually know. I don't think you're up there. Yeah, like that part. Yeah,
Yes, but also. Okay, so we, right now, the Constitution. You're so good. Your text.
See you next week. Yeah. Last part is not solidified yet.
The Roberts rules.
You're not gonna have enough.
Very interesting. How many people like is it gonna be here?
No, it'll be.
How big is that?
He doesn't have any.
Oh, Douglas. Yeah. Brandon.
I'm also in rights and affairs. Actually, I won't be.
Shit's hard to
But I would usually after spring break.
He's wearing the.
He's the. We should talk about it.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
You have no, yeah, kind of might as well. They would love for you to, right, that's like, I did it, that's just the rest of them. They would like for you to do what you guys see, guys to know them, and if you don't, I do it. No, I did debate in high school, policy debate, and I realized that being a lawyer was not something I could do. I could not be making speeches well, but I really appreciate that. That's fair. Appreciate it. See you later.
So the reason I asked you for a motion to hold instead is just so we could, because that would get past the rest. Like we could, things in this meeting, but we can't like prevent it from showing up.
I would say that unless she like interjected and she needed to ask
Yeah,
about
but that would have
something.
to go.
Yes. Thank you. Like, she told me like, Kevin could. All right. Yeah.
He was?
It was
Oh, she's so cool.
he made a made a ruckus and rights and affairs. No. blockchain guy? Oh, yeah, he
Wolfgang,
yeah,
was it?
he had a whole thing
So-
right.
So under, like,
Yeah.
open meeting.
Last week. Yes, you were there. You witnessed it.
I didn't know. I was, why, I had to, I proposed someone like, well, I, the rest of the.
Nice. Emma, could you, so, did you hear what, she just said?
Yeah, I.
She told me.
Okay, so are you like aware of potentially doing that at the next rights affairs meeting? It would be a motion, it would have to be agreed to by 2/3, but
Is she,
is
I mean,
something
is
that
he
we
gonna-
could, like, legally do?
I mean, basically, yes, we have to like follow a process. It's not spelled out in our constitution, so the next level would be looking at a Robert's rule. what is
Robert's
your
rule says
rule?
you have to recognize the person to defend himself, and then there has to be.
It would be a
vote to do
process.
that.
It's not just like, we don't want you here anymore.
I'm not saying that this is going to happen, I'm saying that are we like agreeing on the process in case it does?
If he does that, yeah, but like how he was in Rice, just regular, like, we weren't giving him money.
Should we leave
That
that?
type of way, it wasn't as like.
We have little
I
pictures
know how to
of
turn
them.
it off. Right?
No, I know how to turn it off, I don't know what she usually puts in on it.
Oh.
I'm gonna look it up.
I will touch base with them and like who, what the advisors who's there to like keep it on. Okay, keep it on, yeah, and you keep it on yours too. Okay. If you notice it's not the same student, yeah, if you notice it's not the same student, it's really disruptive. I don't even want to say that. Okay. Specialty. Yeah, I was like out there not.
You know, you did a bad job.
Right.
You kind of
Navigate it. However we would do that, but he doesn't want to keep it. I didn't recognize it was the same student. You said blockchain. Yeah. I was like, because in finance, I think he just. We already had that. Which like, I did, and realistically,